Bedford on the Insider Hotline.
Hello.
Jeff Marek joins us. You know what? A perfect guy to ask. And I don't know. I saw you were in there, but I was wondering: is there a point in a game where your kids are playing where you just you want to cheer on your kids, but is there 4-0, 5-0? When does the bell have to just?
What's the mercy run?
We have to retire the bell or the big horn, like that has to go away. 5 balls?
Yeah, see, that's a good round number.
Okay.
Five. Okay, let me ask you this one. So I was on with the Morning Cup of Hockey guys a couple of days ago, coming off the tournament in Erie. Erie Insurance Arena, by the way, Rhett. That's the rink where we went to. There are a couple of questionable rinks in Erie, but by and large, it was a wonderful experience. Now, so let me give you this scenario. So my kids' team won the tournament. It wasn't the most competitive tournament they've ever had, but nonetheless. So they're playing a team from just outside of Cleveland. It's the third period. Our team is up 7 Cobb. We've stopped with the cowbells and the cheering and all that, right? No celebrations, all that.
Good for him.
Let me ask you this. It's 7-0. My kid coming around the net tries the Michigan.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
As a parent, the old school part of me is like, oh, man, back in my day, son, we'd still be playing that game.
Torts would have disowned him. Like, he's literally an orphan.
And then I catch myself, and I'm like, everybody does the Michigan. It's actually just a high wraparound. What's the big deal? Who cares? Kids are having fun. So, like, honestly, I like this because like, half the parents look at me like, oh my God, I can't. What are you mad at your son? And the other half are like, wow, that was pretty cool. Wish you would have nailed it. Because the puck fell off his stick right at the very end before the wrap part. Where are you guys on a 7-bagel game and someone who may or may not have been my son tries the Michigan? He's 14 years old.
I say you do it because I would rather see that in a 7-bagel.
Yeah.
If it's 1-0 in a tight game and he tries it, what in the
that was going to be my response.
Exactly opposite.
It makes the parent a little awkward, but if it's a close game and you try it, then you're coming unglued for sure. Yeah.
I just think guys, the kids these days, they don't think it's anything it's just another way to score. I don't think they're for me in a 1-0 game, if that's your best way to get a scoring chance and fool the goalie, go get it.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing coming off your conversation a second ago about the parents freaking out and all that, I couldn't help. I'm going to go old school with you guys here for really quickly. There was an official who actually predated Bill Chadwick, the big whistle, who was the referee in the NHL, who came up with all the hand signals, right? Slashing, hooking, high sticking, all that. So Mickey Ian, who's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, one of the first officials to go on, I think he was the third. He used to have this saying, and to the point you guys were talking about, everyone in the rink is going crazy, everyone's insane. You see this at minor hockey all the time. Mickey Ian would gather the officials at center ice before every game, specifically if he was working with younger officials. And he would say the same thing. I always remember this. He would gather the officials at center ice, and he would hold up a puck. This is actually my makeup. This is Mac 30. Let's pretend it's the puck. He would hold up the puck, and he would say, gentlemen, here's what we need to remember today. When I drop this round black thing, the 3 of us become the only sane people in this building. And all I have to do is drop this, and everybody will lose their minds. It's like one of the great referee sayings of all time. Gentlemen, all I need to do is drop this thing, and the 3 of us become the only sane people in the building.
It's true.
You see that at minor hockey all the time. And I always remember, I read it in a Dick Irvin book a million years ago on officiating, and it always stuck with me. Mickey Ian, cheers.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, I like it. The odd time, and it doesn't happen a lot. Fortunately, it doesn't happen a lot. But sometimes a parent just needs to be escorted out.
Yes.
Oh,
when they cross the line, they know it, and they're going to get all it's worth.
They're getting tossed. So their own parents are kind of leaning into them a little bit. The other team's definitely leaning into them. It's that walk of shame out through the main doors and into the parking lot.
Billy, why don't we get you a coffee?
It's quite a show.
That's right. Why don't you switch to some decaf? So how many times, go down this rabbit hole on minor hockey, how many times have you walked through the parking lot with your son or daughter en route to a game, and you see the other team's parents all around one of the parents' pickup trucks, and the back is open, and there's a case of beer open, and there's a couple that are really enjoying themselves, and you're saying, these guys are not going to make it through the whole game. There's about zero chance they're not getting shucked. But to your point, by their own parents on that team and escorted out.
We had a couple that happened last year at the rink in Buffalo we were at. You knew it was coming.
Yep.
And the parents it was back-to-back games, so you played in the morning and then later in the day, and the parents spent the afternoon. It was nice out in the parking lot, and by the end, about halfway through game 2, they were rolling on the ground wrestling with it was like if you could have bet on it, you'd have made a lot of dough.
That's where you need to have. We hear about the players only meeting. That's a parents only meeting.
Oh,
it's like, all right, listen, we just need to come together here.
Yeah.
We're gonna get here a little bit earlier. We're going to stay a little bit later. We're going to clean up our act.
Bill, you're going to sit that bell down after a 5-goal lead.
Yeah. That's like what you guys know what Dave Semenko used to always say to guys when he wanted to fight. You ever hear the story?
No.
So the late great Dave Semenko. He always hated that. You line up at a guy at the draw. Okay, when the puck drops, I'm going to kick your ass. You and me are going for he hated that. So what Dave liked is what he would call witty goon talk. Now, imagine this for 1 second. So Dave Semenko, like one of the toughest ever, saddles up next to you really quietly in that low, deep voice. Instead of doing the puck drops, we're going for it, we're snapping mitts, none of that stuff. Dave Semenko right beside you says, when that puck drops, why don't you and I go on a little canoe ride? That was Dave's way. And they think about the parent. Why does someone take that drunk parent over there out for a little canoe ride?
Yeah, that's right.
Dave Semenko used to talk about.
My Dave Semenko story is a little different. I forget which draft it was, but we got off the flight. Guys got to go to the bathroom, and Semenko goes into the bathroom. He goes into one of the stalls, and Dave needed a quick dart. Didn't need. I don't know if he went to the bathroom or not, but just needed a quick.
Just been eating ash. Who knows where that odor's coming from? Yeah.
Are we going to do the famous people I've pissed next to?
That's next week.
Because for me, it's Sean Connery at Bistro 990 during the film festival in Toronto. And I was like, is that? And he was doing that head against the wall where you're real bucket. It was like in the morning. And I'm like,
welcome to the Rock.
I think that's James Bond. I think that's and sure enough, Scotland Forever on the wrist. I'm like, I'm actually taking a piss next to Sean Connery. This is the height of I have peaked. That's it. It's all down here. I've had a squirt next to 007. That's it. My life is made.
And I'm sure he said the same thing.
Totally.
I took a leak next to Jeff Merrick.
He passed out. Honestly, it was the other one where it's the head on the wall.
He was there a long time after you.
It was a long shift, man.
Yeah.
Now you've got me watching Dave Semenko fights. Way to go.
Oh, Dave. Hey, listen, enjoy. My gift to you. So check out some of the old WHA ones.
And back in those days, they also had Dave Brown, and Brownie was, he was crazy tough.
So the great Dave Brown, Edmonton, Calgary story. It was a home and home. And the first game was a Friday night. It was in Calgary, and Stu Grimson was a young gunslinger, and he caught Brownie in one. It was a good punch. Probably won the fight. Tough to beat Dave Brown in that time. He wore those tight jersey around the shoulders, but caught him legit, and did the big grandstand, kind of the way that Domi did with Prober with the belt and all of that. And as I'm told, Brown was incensed. And the next day at morning skate, Dave Brown made a point to go to all the guys in the media and said something along the lines of, "Don't get up to go get a cup of coffee." Don't get and the fight. So when Brownie was inspired, look out, no one was touching him. With all due respect to the late Bob Probert, he hit Stu a ton, and as Stu was going down, Dave Brown held him up, didn't let him go down, held him up to hit him some more, because he was so incensed at how he had treated his victory the night before. You're right. Dave Brown was, and that was the scary thing from that Montreal Philadelphia Flyers brawl when Dave Brown came out without the jersey, and Chris Nyland's like, oh, oh, look out, here comes Brownie. He doesn't have shoulder pads and there's no jersey.
Yeah.
Jeez, slippery.
Yeah. I think it was earlier this week, maybe, just again scrolling through Twitter or whatever, and it was the anniversary. I forget what year it was, but when Hextall went the length of the ice to fight Felix Potvin.
Can I tell a story about that one?
Yeah.
There were two people in the rink that knew that Felix Potvin was going to win that fight. Only two.
Really?
One was Felix Potvin, who, if you know the Potvin family, like the Potvin boys were like street tough kids. Everybody's like, oh, it's Felix Potvin. He's a goaltender. Oh, it's the cat. That's so cute. Felix Potvin and his brothers were like legit street tough. And the other person who knew that was his head coach, Pat Burns, who in a previous life was a cop in Montreal. And he knew the reputation of the Potvin boys. And as the story goes, in the Spectrum that night, two people knew that Potvin was going to win, the goalie and the coach. Everyone else thought, this is like, when you guys saw it, did you not think like, oh, Cat, you're getting killed? And like Hextall, you guys know, like Hextall would fight players when he was in Brandon.
Sure.
Like he was like Ray Emery, like fighting Josh Gratton. Like he would fight players. He didn't care. And at that moment, like there's a great moment right at the end of that fight where the goaltenders sort of locked horns, and I can't remember who the referee was, comes over to sort of tap their shoulder and say, okay, that's it. Watch Potvin, because he doesn't trust Hextall. He just sort of peeks up a little bit because he doesn't want to put up his head like a telescope because he knows he might get a fresh one. But he just kind of does this little peek. Every time I watch that fight, guys, I howl. Yeah. Right at the very, just to watch that little Felix Potvin peek. Anyway, he was one of the legit ones, absolutely.
It was one of those things because there would have been that age of hockey fan. As Ron Hextall is kind of a quiet, soft-spoken GM of the Flyers and the Penguins, it's like, do you guys know that this guy was a complete wingnut? Like you say, back at, I had to tell my kids, he would be like smashing his goalposts.
Yes.
Until just clang, 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 clang. This guy is unhinged just at any moment.
It's amazing how, and it's so unique to hockey, and I think there's a lot of psychological reasons for it. The way that guys on the ice can be completely like 180 degrees different than they are on the ice. Like how many times have players looked back and said, I can't believe I did that.
Especially enforcers, like nicest, soft-spoken, friendly, and then it's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to try to crack your orbital bone.
Well, Rhett just said, your helmet's a bit too tight.
Yeah.
A bit too tight. Yeah.
But I think the tough guys, to me, the tough guys are the most fascinating ones because, they live with something that other players don't. Like, good luck going to sleep when, like the next day, you're fighting Derek Bugard.
Very few guys would sleep.
I was talking about it with the guy the other day. I've said it before. To me, it's also different. Like, you're in the NHL and you're making money and you're in the NHL, which is highly stressful. You're in front of 20,000 people. I always think back to the years when I played junior hockey. So you got a family from rural Western Canada, middle of nowhere. They've got a young strapping lad. He likes to play the game. He gets invited to camp. Somebody wants to fight. He wins the fight. All of a sudden, he's a fighter. Your kid's living in a city away from home, and he's now anointed a tough guy. And this is what he's dealing with on a day-to-day, night-to-night, game-to-game basis. And you're sitting at home going, what the F?
How did this happen?
What?
He
was just playing volleyball. Now he's going to be.
Yeah. It was just over playing badminton in the backyard at the barbecue. Right? And nice to playing with my kids.
So not only is it hard in that for the kid, but now that I got my own, I'm going, I can't imagine what the parents were going through.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. You just took us to a really interesting place. That is a really okay. I'm so glad you got us here. The point that I want to make about what you just said is I think one of the reasons why we see the NHL changing the most in the last 20 years. And that is because now more so than ever, there are so many second generation players and a lot of people in the league itself have kids that play. I know that my perspective on hockey and fighting changed when I had kids. And it's a natural parental instinct to protect your children. And I'm so glad you got us here. I think it's ridiculous for us to suggest that that's not even true at the NHL level. That all these managers, they all have kids as well, and they probably play. And their thought is, I want to try to make the safest possible environment for my child that I can. That never really existed up until the last 30, 40 years. I mean, the rise of the second generation player, I think one of the sidebars to all of it is their dads who are in positions of power have tried to make the game safer and say, oh, it's for the good of the game. It's for the good of their kids. Agree, disagree?
100% agree. And you get to be a bit hypocritical because I think we all
love
absolutely
a good scrap.
Absolutely.
Brendan Dillon the other day, it's like, wow, what a fight. But if you're if you're around it, you're going, is that worth it? I don't know.
I always think all the lawyers in the league office too. That's played a huge role here. Like the league's run by lawyers. They understand liability and future checks they're gonna have to write. They've seen the NFL cut checks for $500 million. Like,
I think that's part of it. I do. I think it's. I think you're right. I think it's. I'm oversimplifying it. I fully admit, and I admit too that I'm a hypocrite about all of it. Like, downstairs in the basement, I've got DVD after DVD of hockey fights going back, 50, 60 years. Sure. Right. I got the Memorial Cup brawl, by the way, Edmonton and Niagara Falls Flyers. Anytime you boys want to see it, really? the old Edmonton Gardens. Yeah, Cups hitting the ice. So yeah, that's quite a treat. That's Falkenberg and Sanderson incident. But I'm a complete hypocrite about it too. But I do agree. I think there are a lot of different layers to why the game has become safer. I do think liability is a major one. But I also really do think that part of it is, go look at every single level. Managers, executives, they all have kids that play. As a parent, of two kids that play hockey, I can understand trying to make the game safer. Try to make the game safer for your kids.
We got to let you go. Appreciate you.
We're talking about the Winnipeg Jets. And
I know we're
going to. If you got time, Jeff, we'll keep you. But if you got to run, you got to run, my man. You're a busy guy.
I got some time.
Okay, so then here's two things. I got some time. Jets are dogs again. They're the hottest start in NHL history. They were dogs on Broadway. They win. They're dogs again tonight in Tampa. They got to go to Florida next. This is no one wants to give these guys any credibility, and maybe that's just sportsbooks balancing money. Who knows? But from the Jets and then into Nashville at the other end, because we'll see them in the network in the region tonight against Edmonton, and then tomorrow at the Dome. So from the top of the league to the bottom, just a thought on those two bookends.
Okay, so the Winnipeg Jets, they're heading kind of like we were looking at Carolina. I have at least, I think a lot of other people looked at the Carolina Hurricanes in the last 7 days and said, okay, you know what? They're sort of due for a crash here a little bit. First of all, congratulations, Winnipeg Jets. You play 500 hockey, you're in the playoffs. Way to go. Everybody in Jets management is going whew, okay, so we've pretty much got a playoff spot and we're not even out of November. All we got to do is play 50-50 and we're good to go. Our Hellebuck's number is going to soften, yes, but not by much. Is the shooting percentage going to soften? Well, yes, and probably significantly. But the thing about Winnipeg is the way they get pucks out of their zone so quickly. And I get it. It helps a lot when you have, Connor Hellebuck there who's stopping everything. But I don't know if there's a team in the NHL right now today that shuttles pucks and gets pucks out of their zone as quickly as the Winnipeg Jets do. And we're starting to see some, I love Gabriel Velarde, and I'm glad that he's having a good season, and I'm glad that he's healthy. Yeah. I think, dots down. He's one of those guys, dots in, it's going in the net. You can't lift up his stick. He's so great and tight. He has that kind of skill. And I'm glad to see, Cole Perfetti put in a position where he can excel. And I can't help but thinking, though, that part of this is still, I don't want to say fumes because I don't think it's going to exhaust, but part of this is still the legacy of the old coach. Don't you look at part of the way that this team plays structure and the way this team plays defense? A lot of this is still Rick Bowness. I always look at the beginning of the season, guys. I'm not sure how you are. And I say, first 15 or maybe even 20 games or so, teams are learning how to play with one another. It's scrambly. It's sloppy. I always say, whichever team can come out of the gate sticking to their structure, get to the structure and stick to the structure early, they're the ones that are going to have early success. This year, number one, the Winnipeg Jets. On the other end, the Nashville Predators, things have not exactly gone swimmingly. Everyone gave them the Stanley Cup in the offseason for Marchessault, for Brady Shea, for Steven Stamkos. And at the end of it, I think Juuso Parssinen is going to be a really good center in the NHL one day. Colton Sissons is a really good player. Don't know that I like him as high in the lineup as he is, and I don't think that Ryan O'Reilly at this point in his career should be playing first-line center. This is a team that is dying for centers. Like I know, the age is sort of an issue in Calgary with some of the centers, but you look at the Nashville Predators, and listen, the goaltending hasn't been the best. Saros had a soft season by his standards last year, hasn't exactly had an exemplary standard set this year so far. It's been a lot of change, and still at the end of it, this is still a team. It's the donut team, right? There's no centers here, and the centers they do have are playing too high up in the lineup.
And Rhett kind of talked about it at the start of the season. You have the U2 concert canceled. They go on a big run. You come together, and then there's all the changes in the offseason. I don't know if you have the opportunity to sign those guys that you mentioned, Shea and Marchessault and Stamkos. I guess you do it, but it changes the room entirely.
Can I throw one more name in here?
Sure.
How different do you think that team would be? And we all understand salary caps. How different is that team if Ryan McDonagh is still there? I'm a huge Ryan McDonagh guy. Yeah. Now, I don't know if Ryan McDonagh, was part of the luring process of getting Stamkos to go from Tampa to Nashville and, was in jettison. I don't know. All I know is, man, where Ryan players love him. He plays that playoff style game. I don't know how many pucks the guys absorb. It's incredible. I don't know that he's got to be top 10. I mean, this is a skill. Rhett, you can talk to us about this better than anybody here, certainly me. There's a skill to being able to, when you're a defenseman, to getting back to position quickly. He's got to be top 10, maybe top 5 still in the NHL at getting, when he's out of position, he gets back there faster than anybody. And it's perfect. And whoop, that lane just got shut down because all of a sudden Ryan McDonagh got back there quick. That's a skill, right?
Oh, for sure, it's a skill, and he's been doing it forever. And I don't know him well enough because I don't know what. I'm guessing that he's well liked and it has leadership qualities. The guy's running so.
Yes.
It feels like something's missing in Nashville, and maybe that is. It can be as simple as that. It was chemistry last year that got them going.
Yeah.
Even 2 years ago, it was a group that wasn't supposed to be ready. That's a group that they like playing together. It's a totally different room now.
Yeah, and you never know from the outside. Sorry, I was just you never know which guys are the guys that keep rooms together. Who are those? You hear it all, the glue guys.
Yeah. Okay. So let's tie all this together. Nashville Predators offseason. Holy smokes, Brady Shea, Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault. This is incredible. What did the Winnipeg Jets do?
Almost nothing. They brought everyone back. Yeah. Continuity.
Again, I don't think there's one formula or one way to do it right. I think a lot of it is luck. There's sometimes guys are just going to come together, guys styles mix and different types of player. It's just sometimes it's out of necessity. Could Kevin Cheveldayoff have done the things that he wanted to do, but was he not able to for whatever reasons? But the two teams we're comparing here, one of them went out the door and around the corner to try to improve the team. The other team did 2/3 of the square root of SFA and to the top team that are setting records in the NHL. I don't think there's one right way to do it. Oh, here's another question I have. Would you guys be surprised if Adam Lowry made Team Canada?
Little, but we love him.
I might be surprised, but I'd be pumped for him. I love him.
Tom Wilson's name is coming up.
I even think
That's
Tom's
why I say
coming up that much. I'd love to see Bedard there, but man, Lowry, you can't have enough guys like that.
In a short little tournament like this for a team, something with a Tom Wilson and an Adam Lowry aligned with that on it. I don't know. I'm just lobbing it out there as a conversation starter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could you see it, guys?
Who doesn't love Adam Lowry?
Yeah, it's beloved. Those glue guy.
He can play on any team I'm ever part of or ever watch. That's what I think of Adam Lowry. Plus, I've body slammed Adam Lowry. So
you want to share that one?
Well, we were rookies, Jovanovski and I in Florida with Dave Lowry. It was my first home cooked meal in 2 months. We went over to the Lowry's house. So it was, yeah, he was just a wee lad.
Well, and you talk about apple far from the tree. Dave Lowry, one of the most respected guys going.
Oh, yeah.
Adam has the same trait is
lineage.
Not a shock at all.
Yeah.
So the sheet, it's coming. Give us
eventually.
What can you tell us about it?
Just trying to put together the format. Now that we've sort of announced everything, now we sort of looked at each other and said, okay, so what are we going to do here, boys?
Guess we're doing it now.
That's how things work, isn't it?
I guess this is
Not just
real
the idea, and then he leaves. You actually have to follow through on the idea.
We're going to make these cute little videos and throw them up on social media. Oh, shit, we got a show now? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I guess so we're just putting the format, guest list, co-host, all those types of. I think that given the time of day that it's on, it's going to be 3:00 Eastern, Monday to Friday. I think given that it's not in a position where, like, you know, the morning coffee boys are like doing, okay, this is what happened last night. Frank and Tyler is that you know, a couple hours later, and it's like, okay, you're starting to exhaust last night and you're getting into today. I think that maybe the best thing that we can do on this show is try to figure out, you know, what the big power topic of the day is and stay topic themed, as opposed to, you know, breaking down, you know, what are the Winnipeg Jets going to do about this penalty kill? Or what are the Calgary Flames going to do with Connor's area? Like, is he going to be a center? Is he going to be a winger? What's along? I think that maybe if we stick to big issues of the day and figure out what the biggest power topic is that day, I think maybe that's sort of the route we end up going here. And then, like, goofy, dumb stories about Mickey Iron from 100 years ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Pucks dropping and people going.
The important stuff of the day. Should it
exactly.
or not?
Yeah.
Like,
Let's talk more about my kid.
Parents getting buckled in the parking lot, then making asses of themselves in the ring. Yeah.
Sounds like our show.
Yeah. We got a lot of faith in you. We know it'll be great. We look forward to it. Appreciate your time, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Come on, anytime, boys. Be
Take
good.
care, man. There you go. Jeff Marek, part of the Nation Network. The Sheet, his show coming in December. And, I mean, could talk for hours with that guy.
Yes, correct. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And, of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.